Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday. It's time for a Q&A. Now, excuse my location. I'm currently sitting in a hotel room in Columbus. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. I've been up for about an hour, and this is the only time I'm going to have to film the Q&A, so you're going to have to get it from a Columbus hotel room. If you're wondering what I'm doing over here, I'm filming the biggest project I've ever been involved with. Normally, when I come to Penguin, I'm filming like maybe anything up to 8 projects at a time. Today, I'm filming, or for the last few days, I've been filming one project. Like for 3 days, and I've got another day of filming today. Then tomorrow I'm heading up to Magic Live. I'm going to be working the Penguin booth, and I'm going to be demoing a bunch of new stuff, so that's going to be really exciting. But to everybody who came out to see the show yesterday, I did a full 2-hour show yesterday, made up of brand new, never seen before material. I did it at the P3 Theatre, mixture of lay people and magicians that came along. And to everybody that came along and watched the show, thank you so much. The standing ovation was amazing. And I do it again tonight. And it's all being filmed for this project, which you guys will be finding out about soon. But as a result of that, it means that the Q&A has to be done from my hotel room. So I'm very sorry about that. But like I said to you, when I started Magic TV, I would never let you guys down. No matter what I'm doing, I will find a way, come hell and high water, to get these videos up online. Now, if you've never seen a Q&A before, the idea is that I take all your questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. If I miss a question, I'm very sorry. I will get back to it next week. Please leave it in the comments to this video. Don't forget, you're getting my raw, unfiltered opinion. I have not looked at these questions ahead of time, so you're getting an off-the-cuff answer. If I think that a video or a question is worthy of a longer video, I will do that at some point soon. Anyway, with that in mind, I've got my laptop. I've got to get going. I've got to be at the theatre for more filming in about an hour and a half, so I'm going to do this quick, film it, and edit it. Let's get on with it. This week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from David Blaine, who says, can you start showing videos with a mental photography deck? There aren't many good ones with patter. I totally agree with you. My favourite one is Adam Wilber's on the Netrix. He's got a fantastic version of the mental photography. If you're on the Netrix, go check that out. Just click on Adam Wilber, hit search. But I am planning on doing a Hows and Whys of the mental photography deck. I might at some point, and it's way down the road, but I might at some point do like one of those big projects that I do, like the invisible deck, you know, and the cheat-to-cheat deck and things like that. I might do one of those in the future, because you are right. The mental photography deck has been massively kind of underused, I would say. The only real thing that people do with it is the printing routine, but there is so much more that you can do. If you actually think outside the box and you go, well, okay, I've got this, what else can I do with it? The answer is millions of things. So I am going to do a Hows and Whys. I might even do a video, I might even do a product on this at some point in the years to come. But yeah, I totally agree with you, and it is coming at some point this year. Okay, so the next question is from Jonah Berg. It's a very weird question. Can you do the magic like in Now You See Me, the movie? Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Now You See Me, and, you know, I mean, there's a lot of magic in there. I mean, a lot of magic. It starts with the, you know, the water torture thing with the piranhas, and then there's some close-up magic, there's some pickpocketing, there's some mentalism, there's some hypnosis, and then when they get into the Vegas stuff, they're doing really big, elaborate tricks. I suppose the answer is kind of, I suppose. I've never really thought about it. Can I do the sort of magic you see in Now You See Me? Well, I can do pickpocketing, and I can do mind reading, and I can do sleight of hand, and I do a big illusion show. I don't do a water torture tank or anything like that, but I do big illusions. But I've never really thought of it that way, to be honest. I've never thought of it as, can I do the sort of magic you see in Now You See Me? Anybody can. Anybody can replicate what you've seen to a part. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be able to make someone disappear and appear in a vault in Paris or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff that was designed specifically for the movie. But if you wanted to use that movie as a hook and say, hey, you know, have you ever seen the film Now You See Me? Well, you know, there's 4 types of performers in Now You See Me. There's a pickpocket, there's a mentalist, there's an illusionist, and, you know, whatever there is. I'm going to show you a different type of magic that those 4 people would do. You know, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. We can all do it. But, yeah, it's never really a question I've thought of. But I suppose, yes, I can, to a point. Okay, so the next question is Justin Hutchins, who says, "Hi Craig, are you planning on reviewing Michael Chatelain's new linking card trick? And do you ever perform linking cards yourself? Is this something that could be turned into a video with your top linking card routines?" Yeah, I should definitely do a video on the top linking card routines, and Michael's video will get reviewed at some point soon. I've got a stack of stuff on my review pile, but I believe that is in there. And while I'm away in America, I know that Ryland is probably going to dig deep and grab a load of stuff to review as well. But yes, I do linking cards. There's a few different versions that I've liked over the years, and I could do a video on this at some point, but off the top of my head, Immaculate Connection by Paul Harris is like a classic, the quintessential linking cards as far as I'm concerned. Jay Sankey had a really nice version of the linking cards that was super fun to perform as well. One of the best linking card routines ever is the one card link by oh my gosh, Ben. Why has my memory gone blank? It's because I was up until very late last night filming this show. He's a really good friend as well. I have to do this, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry guys, but I can't do it. One card link Ben Williams, how could I forget that? One card link by Ben Williams is an amazing trick. You take one card and you tear it into two and you link them. It looks great. Henry White, many years ago, had a really nice version of a linking card as well, where you took a card and you linked it onto the stem of wine glass, and gave that card out as a souvenir. I think it was called The Souvenir, and that was really nice at the time. That caused a big buzz. So there's lots of different linking card routines. There's a lot more that I haven't mentioned there as well. Michael's has got to be good to stand up with all of those. But I'll do a video on it, and yes, I will review Michael's new trick at some point. Okay, so the next question is another weird one. It's by user CU9NW9PB4C. Kind of random. Hey Craig, do you ever lose sleep due to these hate comments? Do you ever monitor your blood pressure? How is your overall health? Have you considered switching to a healthier diet? I've got a healthy diet. I put weight on during lockdown. I've been very open about that, and I think it was because I was just trying to salvage my company at the time, and I didn't really eat right, and I've struggled all through my life. I've struggled with weight. I've kind of gone up and down and up and down. If people have seen the Wizard product review, you'll know that. But I've been going to the gym every single day. If you listen to the Magic podcast, you'll know this. Every day in the morning, I've been going to the gym. Been eating a heck of a lot healthier. The problem is when you're on the road, it's very easy to just grab anything, and you kind of get into that pattern. But now I've been eating a heck of a lot healthier. I've lost a stone since I've been doing this, which is great, and it's kind of kicking in now, you know, like when you first start exercising and it's a very difficult thing to do and you have to force yourself. Not forcing myself at the moment. In fact, I'm really frustrated that I can't do it while I'm out in Penguin. Even though the place I'm in has a gym, I haven't got time. I'm literally filming. All I'm doing is filming, sleeping and performing. In terms of the hate comments, you know, they are what they are. It's something I've struggled with throughout the whole time that I've done Magic TV. I've struggled with it, you know, but for every negative comment, there's 10 positive comments. And the negative comments are always made by somebody who, it's a fake account, or it's someone's got an agenda or something like that. So let them say whatever they want to say. The bottom line is, I'm sitting in a hotel room in Columbus, having just performed a sellout show with a standing ovation the night before. You know, I'm Creator of the Year 2 years in a row. I'm pretty good. I'm happy with where I am. You know, my companies are doing well. I can afford to do this stuff and go around. My son is doing an amazing job as a performer. Everything's going great. So you know what? The people that want to bring me down, let them do that. I don't care. Because to be honest, at the end of the day, anybody who's ever made a hate comment about me, ever in my entire career, nobody knows who they are. They're gagging for attention. And they do it by trying to attack me. So I rather listen to the 10 to 15 positive comments I get for every one negative comment. And sometimes they get to me, and that's when you see videos go up like a rant or something like that, where I've just kind of had enough. But I try to temper that these days, and you know, I don't really let as much stuff get to me. But thanks for your concern, I'm fine. Okay, so the next question is Sam Fuller, Magician. And Sam says, good to see you at the TMC convention. Good to see you as well, Sam. It's great to finally meet you. Hope you and Ryland had a good one. We did, absolutely. He was just on the stand demming the whole time. Crazy kid. Sorry if I seemed a bit off. This was my first ever convention, and now I'm buzzed for Blackpool. Blackpool is going to be off the charts this year, man. I know some of the stuff they're planning, and it's sick. What was your favorite part of the TMC convention? See anything in the dealers? Few things. One, Harry Piper was incredible. Loved Harry Piper. Thought he was amazing. Standout on the gala show, as was Two Minds. I thought that was just a deserved standing ovation. Terry Herbert, absolutely brilliant. The gala show in general was amazing. The acts were really, really good. Excuse me, the lectures were great. Everything was super organized. Everything was fantastic. I didn't see as many lectures as I wanted to because I was busy in the dealer room, but you know, it is what it is. In terms of seeing anything in the dealer hall, Ryland bought himself a really nice chop cut from Glum that's designed to, it was leather, and it was designed to look like kind of almost like a sweet pot. And instead of a ball, it was like a starburst that was chopped. That was beautiful. And the final load was like a little collection of starbursts as well. He got that for himself because he's been wanting to do chop cut for a while. He does cups and balls. He saw that. It wasn't cheap, but it was really good. Cyrus Magic had a couple of really nice things out. A couple of brand new items, and they were great. So yeah, if you haven't seen those, we'll be reviewing them at some point, but go check them out. Both of them were really good. And obviously, Ticket to Ride. I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but I was demming Ticket to Ride on the Alakazam stand. Actually, Ryan was demming it more than me, and it sold out. And talking about the Alakazam stand, Jamie Dawes was there and taught Ryan his new trick, Float, which is just incredible. It's a... we're going to be reviewing it soon. Ryan just demmed it over and over again. If you want to see it, go and look on Ryland's Instagram. Basically, what happens is you show a Polaroid picture of a balloon, and you give them that to hold, and then you talk about Pennywise the Clown from it, and you show a poster with Pennywise on it, and then you tell this whole story, and when you open up the poster, Pennywise is gone, and Pennywise is holding the balloon in the Polaroid picture that they've been holding the whole time. It's incredible. I could see this killing at Halloween, and the really good thing about it is that it's super practical. It just fits in the pocket and it's reset and ready to go. It is really good. So that was one of the tricks of the convention for me, I think, Float. But yeah, there was some good stuff. Good stuff. Christian Grace was there. He's always fun. Monster Magic. Okay, so Alex was there from Monster Magic, and he had these 3 shoelaces. And the whole idea, it was based on a really old bit from years ago, but he's made them up and it looks really nice. I think I've got them here because I was playing with them earlier. Here they are. I bought this. So you get 3 shoelaces with 3 different colors on it. And you walk over to the table with them in the hand. And you say 3 different colors. You pick whichever one you want to. There's a £20 note tied to one of them. If you get the £20 note, you win. And they pull out whichever one they want to. And the one that's left has the £20 note tied to it. It's great. It's based on a really old thing, but I mean, they're so well made, and I think they're only £10. It's kind of like Hook, but safer. Well, not that Hook's dangerous, but you know, it doesn't have that Hook presentation to it. I love it. So that's from Monster Magic, the £10. And while you're at it, we got a couple of eggs for an egg bag that Monster Magic made up as well. Best eggs I've ever seen. Ryland and I both got one because Ry does the egg bag a lot. And we normally use blown eggs, but these are better than blown eggs and lighter weight as well. So there you go. That's some of the stuff that I saw, but it was great to see some. Okay, so the next question is from the Fess, who says, "Hi Craig, I wrote a question last week, but I don't think you got to it, so I'll ask again. I'm very sorry. I know you talk a lot about close-up and walk-around acts and tricks on the channel, but I kind of want to hear your take on street magic specifically. Maybe you can do a deep dive video into street magic, as that's something you haven't really talked about on the channel before. Maybe do a best tricks of street magic or something like that. I've been into magic shows recently, and this topic is important to talk about, as I think it's one of the most engaging aspects of magic out there, both for the spectator and for the magician. By street magic, I'm guessing you're talking about working the streets. I'm guessing you're talking about like doing an actual show, you know, like for tips in a hat, you know, doing a set show, as opposed to what some people think of street magic, which is like David Blaine, hit and run style, close-up magic, walk over to them, do a trick, walk off, right? So the reason I haven't spoke much about that on this channel is because I've never been a street entertainer. I've never done it. It's not something I've ever done. It's something that I wanted to do, and I actually had every intention of doing, but I got successful at doing other stuff, and that took up my time. And then I got to a point where I had kids, and it was just not appropriate or possible to be able to do it. So I've never done street entertainment. I understand the concept behind it, but to do a video explaining how to do street magic when I've never done it myself would be a little bit hypocritical. I could give you my 2p worth on it, but it's my 2p worth based on no experience whatsoever. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that are a lot more experienced than I will ever be. So that's why I've never spoken about street magic. But if you want a couple of sources of people to check out, so first of all, check out Stephen Bridges' YouTube channel, not the more recent stuff. Now, a lot of people will know that Stephen Bridges recently has been talking about gambling and been talking about casinos and card counting. Incredible content, by the way, really, really good. But before that, he took about a 3-year break from YouTube. And before that, he had a very successful YouTube channel, which is still there now. It's still the same YouTube channel. He started doing street magic. While he was doing this YouTube channel, he decided to do street entertainment. And he went on and he documented everything on his YouTube channel. So he documented his first show, what went right, what went wrong. He did a ton of videos on it, which you can access for free on his YouTube channel. You just have to go back a bit. Now, if you want to get his thoughts, his current thoughts on street magic, go check out the interview I did with him about a year ago, because I did an interview and I brought up street magic and chatted to him in great detail. So Stephen Bridges is a great place to start. Also, have a look at Cosmo. If you don't know Cosmo, he runs Real Magic magazine, which is an incredible resource. I've been good friends with Cosmo for years. And go check out a DVD he put out called Tales from the Street, because Cosmo is one of the best street entertainers I've ever seen. Like, he's up there with Gazzo as far as I'm concerned. And he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And he had a DVD come out called Tales from the Streets, which was, in essence, that. It was tales. It was all about how to become a street entertainer, all about what you need to do, both from a financial and a magic point of view, you know, building a crowd, absolutely everything. It's the best resource I've ever seen on how to become a street entertainer. So it's worth checking that out as well. And while you're looking at interviews on Magic TV, if you haven't already done so, go check out James Hessler, who I interviewed about a year ago on Magic TV as well. Incredible guy, really nice guy. Nobody is as experienced as him when it comes to working the streets. And the interview I did with him was pretty much exclusively about street entertainment. Ian Kendall, I believe, also talked about street entertainment when I interviewed him, so it might be worth checking out his as well. And I am going to be interviewing other people about street entertainment as well. But in terms of me personally putting a video together about it, unless I was sort of cultivating opinions from people who's actually done it, I wouldn't feel comfortable giving you that advice, because it's not something that I've done myself. Okay, so the next question is from DJ the Magician, who says, question, do you think doing sudden deck 3 into mental photography would be a good opening routine for restaurant work? And the answer is yes. You know, I always talk about this on the channel. I talk about bridging effects together and combining effects, and that's a really great way of combining really two effects that make sense, because you bring out your unprinted deck of cards, and then boom, you print the card case, then you'd open up, but the cards are unprinted. And so that allows you to then go into a printing routine. I've never actually heard of anybody combining mental photography with sudden deck 3, but actually that's a genius idea, like a real genius idea. I love that. That's really good. So yes, I would say mental photography and sudden deck 3 would be fantastic for restaurant work. Great idea. Okay, so the next question is from Anthony Povey, who says, hi Craig, I'm looking for a good color changing deck, and I was wondering if you could give me any more information of your release palette. So palette's not come out yet. It was filmed over a year ago, and it will come out at some point. If there's one thing I've learned from working with various different production companies, it's that things can take a long time to come out. So palette was shot over a year ago with Alakazam. I know that they're waiting for the stock. It's not going to be an easy thing to put together. And it's a full gimmick deck. But basically what palette is you bring out a deck of cards, and you show the backs of every single card. There's no false displays. You show the backs of every single card. You show the fronts of every single card. And you get 4 people to take cards, and they have a free choice of any card. There is no force at all. You put the rest of the deck to one side. You then, there's lots of different ways of presenting it, but I use an invisible paintbrush and I get them to wave the paintbrush over the cards. And one at a time, each card changes to a different colored card. Or, that might be, you started with a blue deck, it might be a yellow card, a green card, a red card, and an orange card or something. And they're doing it by waving this paintbrush over. And then you take this invisible paintbrush and put it to one side. And show that those 4 cards have changed front and back. They can examine them, they really have changed. And then you take the deck and you notice that the invisible paintbrush went near the deck of cards. And then when you turn the rest of the deck over, now every single card in the deck has changed, and it's now a rainbow deck, a custom-made rainbow deck specifically for Palette. And everything's examinable. Everything is completely examinable at that point. The deck, the cards on the table. You could even examine the invisible paintbrush. So it's a fantastic routine. It's something I've done for about 15 years. And I remember showing Harry Nardi this trick when I went to Alakazam a couple of years ago. And he was the person that initially pushed for this to be released, because he was like, oh my God, I love this. And it's a great, super commercial color changing deck. I think color changing deck is one of the best plots that you can do in Magic, because I think it is really magical. And it transcends. It's great for kids, it's great for adults, it's great for everybody. And Pete had a fantastic presentation for this as well. He actually has this pseudo-hypnosis style presentation that he spoke about on the tutorial, which is great. So the tutorial's done, the live performances are done, my bit is done. So if you want to know when Palette's coming out, it's best to speak to Alakazam and ask them, because I don't know. I know that they're waiting to get stock in of everything they need to make it up. I would say it would probably be 2024. Knowing what's coming out between now and the end of the year from me and Alakazam, I don't see that it could fit into a schedule the rest of this year, but next year I could see it definitely happening. Okay, so the next question is from the Kitchen Magician, who says, hi Craig, here's a question for your next episode. I'm not a huge fan of eBay and PayPal. How would one acquire a discontinued effect? You had one effect called El Duco's Houdini coin that you demonstrated on the channel. The effect was incredible. Do you know suppliers who carry it? Or perhaps a similar effect that's on the market? What are some more Houdini related tricks? Thanks for your suggestions and love your show. Right, okay, so there's a lot of questions there. So the first thing that I would say is give somebody the money and get them to pay for it by PayPal or something. The trouble is, a lot of places, if you're wanting discontinued tricks, a lot of the time, a good place to look for it is eBay. And obviously, if you don't like eBay, that can be a problem. However, go check out the Enchanted Rabbit. Go check out Crisscross, the Enchanted Rabbit. He has a metric ton of old items. And if you said to him, hey, I'm looking for a Houdini coin by El Duco, he will try and find one for you. He might even have one, you never know. I've actually got 2 of them. I've got a spare. 3 of them actually. Every time I see one, I get it. The last time I got one was the IBM convention last year. There was this jumble table with just a bunch of old stuff on it, and it was just there. And I was like, immediately, yep, I'll have that. That's definitely something that I'm going to have, and I'm going to nick and I'm going to take and put to one side. It is a great trick. It's one of my favorite tricks ever to perform. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to say about that. Other than, yeah, check out the Enchanted Rabbit. If you don't like PayPal, Chris will do, any type of payment, but he's your best bet. The other person that you might want to speak to is Nate Kranzo, because he actually has a similar thing to Chris, in that he's always looking for older items that he lists on eBay, but you could speak to him yourself. I don't know of anything similar to that trick. I don't know anything that's even remotely like that trick, other than that one. In terms of other Houdini related magic tricks, the place that you need to look at for this, very, very simply, is Wayne Dobson's store, A Kind of Magic. You need to go Netrix. You need to go check that out, because he's got a whole range of magic all based around Houdini. I think he's up to about 7 or 8 routines now. He's even got tricks all based around Houdini's pets. He's got routines based on Houdini's wife. He's got a ton of different stuff. So if you like the idea of doing routines based around Houdini, go check out Wayne's stuff. In fact, I did a review show special on Wayne Dobson's material probably about 6 to 8 months ago, and I reviewed like 3 Houdini tricks in there, and I did performances and a review on them. So if you go back and look at that review show special, you'll see me talking about some of his Houdini range. But if you're looking for magic with a Houdini kind of slant to it, definitely go check out Wayne Dobson. Okay, so the next question is from Darren Bain, who says, I have 2 copies of the most recent version of Keymaster. They've been on my magic shelf at the back of the kitchen diner for a while. Took them out recently and noticed that in both sets, some of the keys are showing signs of discoloration, which was a surprise. Is this common? Do you have any suggestions on what I can do to rectify it? At present, if I was to switch one key for another, the discoloration is such that a spectator may well say that's not the same key. Any advice would be appreciated. Well, my keys look completely different to what they look like when you get them out the box, because my keys just sit in my pocket, and they have done ever since. I'm using the same set that Penguin sent me as a prototype set that I used to film the actual project with. I'm using the exact same set. And they look like a key does look if it's been in your pocket for ages, because they are real keys. We make the gimmicks out of real keys. So they do get discolored over time, you know, the brass fades and so on and so forth. And I think that makes them better. I don't know about them just sitting in a box and discoloring. I've never heard of that before. And I've got some in my office that have been sitting there literally for a year, and I look at them and they're fine. So I mean, that's something you might want to speak to Penguin about, but it's very easy. If you just get some Brasso and you just rub the Brasso over, if you want to have that nice polished look to it, and you want to keep having that nice polished look, just get some Brasso and just clean it up with some Brasso, and they'll be as good as new. And they'll look super bright and super shiny again. I don't bother, to be perfectly honest. As I say, it's not something that I care for, so I like having that discolored thing, and because they've been in my pocket, they discolor at the same time, if that makes sense, because they're jangling around with change and with other keys and so on and so forth. So you might want to just throw them in your pocket for a couple of weeks and see what happens then, or get some Brasso and polish them up. Either way, that's probably the way to go with it. Okay, so the next question is from the Sound Band, who says, hi Craig, can you make a video about putting together a show reel, or even give some advice on putting together clips and making one on next week's Q&A? Thanks for taking the time to read. Yeah, I mean, I'm putting together a video on show reels at the moment. I'm doing a shorter video for Magic TV and a longer video for the silver level of the Netrix. What I'm planning on doing for the silver level of the Netrix is making a show reel and filming the whole thing, so they can see the process of me selecting the clips and putting it together. Because it is an important thing, and you don't have to spend a fortune on a show reel. You can do it on the cheap if you've got some video editing software and you know how to do it. So I'm going to be doing a video on that. But to give you a small piece of advice right now, don't make it too long. I've suffered with that very, very badly in the past. Don't make it too long a show reel. It's very difficult because a lot of it's personal too, and you kind of go, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this, right? Try to keep it maybe a minute to 2 minutes, minute and a half, because after that people will switch off. Have a nice balance between reaction clips and information. It doesn't want to be just reaction, reaction, reaction. You want to get certain information over to those people as well, so make sure there's a balance between the two. But you do want to have those reaction shots in there. You want to make sure that the camera is on them reacting to you as opposed to you. Excuse me, it's those reaction shots that will sell people. The whole idea of a show reel is to paint pictures. Make people who are watching that show reel look at it and go, I want that at my events. Because if they've got to a point where they're watching a show reel, they've already probably on your website, they've done some research into you. So they're now trying to find information about you to decide whether you're the right fit for their event or not. So you want to show people having a really great time. And the other thing is, if there's an area you specialize in, make sure that the footage is from that area. So for example, if you bill yourself as a wedding magician, make sure that all the footage is from weddings, because if you have nothing but corporate footage in there, people might look at it and go, well, that's good, but it's not the thing that I'm looking for my events. So think about who your customer avatar is. Think about who the people are that you market to, and make sure that the footage in the show reel specifically shows you at those sort of events. And then make sure there's a good, strong call to action at the end. You know, what is the purpose of the show reel? Is it to send people to the website? Is it for them to give you a call? Is it for them to fill in a contact form? Make sure that you have that strong call to action at the end of the video. So yeah, that'll give you a few tips, but I will be coming up with a longer video at some point in the future. So the next question is from David Blaine, who says, can you show me more routines with brass buttons? The pop-up move is hard for me to get that down. I really don't have time to practice anymore. Your routine is on the download I enjoy the best. Thank you. Okay, so a few things on that. Yes, I can show you more routines with the brass buttons. This Q&A is not the time to do it because I'm literally sitting in my hotel room and I can't really, as I normally would be able to get the camera to come down and show you stuff. I can't really do that on this Q&A. But I will do a video. I'll probably do a hows and whys of, not brass buttons, because brass buttons is basically just 2 copper, 1 silver, or copper, silver, brass, right? And I am thinking about doing a hows and whys of copper, silver, brass, and all of those routines would work with brass buttons. So I will do that video. It'll probably drop in September. But in terms of what you said here, you don't have time to practice anymore. Try to find time to practice. Even if, you know, brass buttons is a perfect example. You can play around with brass buttons and just play around with that. But you say the pop-up move is hard. I don't have time to practice anymore. Take yourself a couple of coins, and while you do, I don't know what you do for a living, but if you're sitting at a computer, you can have those coins with you. You can be practicing the pop-up move. Whatever it is that you do, you can be practicing that move. The pop-up move and coin magic in general is a great thing to practice when you're actually in a situation where you're not actually at when you're doing something else, right? Whether you're at school or whether you're in a job or whatever it may be. Coin magic is a great thing to practice. So find time, even if it's while you're doing something else. The pop-up move is something that takes practice, but it's not something that's not impossible. And there's so many great routines with the pop-up move when you get it down. Oh my gosh, have a look at some of the stuff Jay Sankey does with the pop-up move. Have a look at some of the stuff that Gary Jones does with the pop-up move. There's some amazing stuff that you can do with the pop-up move, and it's well worth checking out. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, who says, you mentioned mental epic done with a flip chart. What other magic tricks could be done with a flip chart? Well, I mean, obviously, there's the quintessential one, which is magic square. You know, a lot of people will use a flip chart to do a magic square style routine. But you can do, you know, if you think about a flip chart as just like a really big version of a notepad, anything that you do with a notepad, you could do with a flip chart. So for example, you could do a confabulation routine very, very simply. If you cut one of the sheets of paper slightly short, you could almost do a very simple second deal where you've got the flip chart, you show it, you turn it around towards yourself, and you apparently tear that piece of paper off. You're tearing out the one underneath. That gives you a lot of options, like predictions changing into something else, card reveals changing into something else. You know, there's so many different things that you can actually do taking that concept. Also, if you take the flip chart and you turn it on its side, then you could do something like Bolarama by Kevin James. So, I mean, there's a few ideas, but, you know, check out Jasper Cherry. So Jasper Cherry, I've seen him perform a couple of times now at the House of Secrets in Blackpool, and he has a really nice prediction routine that he does, and he uses a flip chart on stage to do, on an easel, to do that prediction routine. And it always brings the house down, and he uses an amaze box by, you know, the amaze box thing with all the pieces of paper in there. Mark, it's not Mark. Mark, you know Mark, it's Mark. Again, I'm very, very tired, so I'm very sorry if I'm not getting names correct. It's another person who's a very good friend of mine. But the amaze box, he uses the amaze box, and he does a really cool prediction effect using an easel on stage. And what's nice about an easel is it plays big. It makes the whole routine look a lot bigger than writing down on file cards or pieces of paper. So yeah, an easel is definitely the way to go. Okay, so the next question is from Matthew Wennell, who says, hi Craig, when doing a close-up walk-around gig, what would you suggest to do with your close-up case? Where do you put it? Do you walk to a table with it? Thank you. So my close-up case, when I get to a gig, I open up the close-up case, I look around at the gig, the environment, the type of place I'm at, how many tables there are, whether I'm doing mix and mingle, whether I'm doing table magic. I look at all of that stuff and I decide what tricks I want to take out of my case and I put them into my pockets. And it's a different thing every single time. There's a million different factors that will change that. And then I'll go to a member of staff at the venue and I'll say, hey, is there somewhere I can keep this safe? And they'll go, yeah, I'll put it over there. And I go, fantastic, thank you very much. Now, I typically change my set over between strolling and tables. So if I'm doing, say, an hour of strolling and then an hour of table magic, after the strolling, I'll quickly nip back to my case. I'll take the stuff out that I used for strolling and I'll get a bunch of different stuff for tables. And I'll change it over. So it needs to be a place that's accessible to me, that I can get to very easily. Normally I'll keep it behind a bar and I'll say to the bartender, hey, can I grab my case back for a minute, please? But yeah, that's what I do, because don't forget I don't drive, so I can't leave my case in the car because I'm not gonna have a car to leave it in. So typically I'll put it somewhere safe, somewhere that's accessible to me, that I can get back to it if I need to. Okay, so the next question is from William Abbott, who said, love the interview with David Forrest. Yeah, it was amazing. I love Dave. Nothing in Transit 2.0 is a nod to the good old days. Do you know if there's going to be a release of Project Zero or even a Project Zero 2.0? I have no idea. No idea. I have no idea. I know that Dave is going through his back catalogue and he's updating stuff, and I think that's a smart thing to do because a lot of his material is excellent and a lot of the newer magicians aren't aware of it right now. But in terms of if that's a project, I don't know. One thing I will tell you is I can't wait to see what Full 52 and Dave Forrest come up with next. Okay, so the next question is from Jonah Berg again. What are your thoughts on the new Shelby wallet? And the answer is I like it. I did a review on it a little while ago. I did a review show special, or me and Ryland did a review. We definitely reviewed the Shelby wallet and we gave it a good review for good reason. It's a great trick. I don't use it personally because I use an Orphic wallet, and although the peak is arguably better with the Shelby wallet than it is with the Orphic wallet, there's a lot more I can do with the Orphic wallet, and so I take that into consideration. Having said that, Matt, who is rapidly becoming a pure mentalist, does use the Shelby wallet. If you saw his video on the close-up case, he's got a Shelby wallet that he actually uses. It's a great wallet, looks really good, handles really well, nothing negative about it at all. It's just that it does one thing. If you're after a peak, it does that peak brilliantly. You can literally put it into the hands of the spectator and you can just literally get the peak immediately. But for me, I prefer the Orphic wallet. But yeah, I mean, it's horses for courses, right? But if you want to know more, just go and have a look at the review that we did on it a little while ago. It was around about Blackpool time and we kind of went into it in great detail. Okay, so the next question is from Mabe Message, who says, hi Craig, I have a question concerning a couple of different classic effects. Where can I learn routines for multiplying balls, colour changing silks and Bellini egg bag? Really appreciate all of your help. No problem. So, right, multiplying balls, first of all, Ryland uses the Mark James multiplying balls routine, which he learned off the second Mark James ACAAN Magic Academy. His routine is brilliant. So yeah, if you're wanting to learn multiplying balls, that's a great place to go. Or Levant has some amazing work on multiplying balls, and obviously when you're thinking multiplying balls, you have to think of Jeff McBride. So those are really, I would say, three of the best places to go if you're, oh, and Pop Hayden, sorry, Pop Hayden has an amazing multiplying ball routine as well. So those four different sources will give you everything that you need if you want to learn a multiplying balls routine. The colour changing silks, I'm guessing you're talking about like the half dyed silk routine. Let's have a think here. So again, Mark James has a really nice version on one of his ACAAN academies. That's worth checking out. And again, Pop Hayden has a really nice version of the half dyed silk routine that's worth looking at. From memory, Paul Rohamani has a great version of it, but like I'm sure it was done kind of like Vanishing Bandana, and there was like an audio track that was over the top. I might be wrong, I can't remember, but I'm fairly sure I'm right about that. John Kimmons, incredible performer, has a great version of the half-dyed silk routine. Now, I don't know if he's ever published that. I've seen him perform it several times and it's excellent. I know he does have a magic shop with lots of different sort of different products that he makes available. So it might be worth speaking to John Kimmo about that, but that's the best sources for color changing silks in my opinion. Malini egg bag, I've got my routine, which is the routine that Ryland does. I have my routine on the Netrix. If you're looking for, Pat Page has some great work on the egg bag, so it's worth checking out Pat Page's stuff as well. All of that is in his big book of magic that was put out by his estate. Who else? Scott Alexander had the best version of the egg bag ever. He taught that on, where did he teach it? He taught it on one of the Penguin Magic Christmas lives. You know, the Christmas lives that they did with Dan Harlan and Scott Alexander. He taught that on one of those. You'll have to go onto Penguin Magic and search Scott Alexander Christmas show and look at which one, but one of them has his egg bag routine, which he taught in detail. I think he also taught it on his DVD set Standing Up on Stage, which he then released as a download. Jeff Hobson has an incredible egg bag routine, which I believe you can get as a download from Hobson Magic. And then finally, if you're looking for a close-up routine with the egg bag, you want to check out anything by Dan Tong. Dan Tong has some amazing work with an egg bag in a restaurant environment. There's a couple of Dan Tong DVDs which are still available. If you just go on a magic shop and type in Dan Tong, they were produced by Cosmo Magic. Talked about Cosmo before, excellent street entertainer, but has also brought out some incredible props, and you definitely want to check out Dan Tong's work on the egg bag. So that covers everything I think you're asking about. Hope that helps. Okay, so the next question is from 03142, who says, can you make a 5x5 on coin magic with a copper silver coin and just normal coins? The copper silver 5x5 is coming soon. That's on my slate. I just need to film it when I get back to the UK. Normal coins is an interesting idea. I've never thought of that, but yes, absolutely. I'll do one on normal coins as well. But the first one to be done is with copper silver coins, and that will be coming very soon. Okay, so the next question is from Robert Felicini, who says, hi Craig, love your Q&As and pretty much all your other content. I just wanted to know what, in your opinion, is the purest ACAAN? A lot of ACAAN creators like to claim that their version is the so-called holy grail, but they always end up being overly padded out and convoluted. I love ACAAN, and I'm currently working through Juan Tamaritz's mnemonica stack because I want to be able to perform the purest ACAAN I can. One of my favorite card tricks simply because of how mind-blowing it is. I think the more steps you add to the trick, it destroys the whole point of the trick. It depends on what you mean by pure. Now, by pure, do you mean the amount of procedure, or do you mean whether it's gaffed or not? Like, what do you mean? Because I agree, there's lots of ACAANs where you kind of have to do this and do that and do the other. And if you justify it, it's fine. But that can obviously be considered unpure. Or do you mean it's gaffed? Or it depends on what you mean. Look, there's no right and wrong. I did a video on what I thought were the top 10 ACAANs of all time. In terms of, I mean, Assy Wins ticks all the boxes. I'm guessing that's why you're learning mnemonica, right? Assy Wins ticks all the boxes because Assy Wins ACAAN, or the ACAAN, Ass is any card at any number. That is very, very pure because you literally just put the deck down on the table and you have somebody name a card, you have somebody name a number, you take the cards out of the case and you're done, effectively, right? You're done. You deal down, or you get the spectator to deal down. Now, the downside of that is that it's very bloody hard to do. First of all, the mental gymnastics are beyond just memory work. You know, you have to know a stack inside out, upside down, and back to front. But then once you know that stack, you also have to do some pretty hardcore mental gymnastics. And then when you're taking the cards out of the case, you have to do a move at, in my opinion, precisely the wrong time to do a move, and it's not the easiest move in the world. Now, I know that there's other people out there that run other review shows that say, no, that move is very easy to do. I haven't found it very easy to do, but that's just me. And, you know, it's why I don't do Asses any card at any number, but, you know, you might consider that to be the purest any card at any number there is. I suppose ACAAN is a very personal thing. You need to decide what's the most important thing for you as an ACAAN. Take the quantum depth as an example. I wanted that moment where all the cards are blank on both sides, and the only card that wasn't blank was the card they picked, because for me that massively improved the effect, because it showed that they could have, that they could have only picked that one card in that one position. So for me, the advantage of having a blank deck of cards, offsets the fact that I can't, for example, with Quantum Deck, allow the spectator to deal through the cards themselves. I have to have somebody else. I have to deal through the cards myself. That's the negative. That's the drawback, right? But for me, that was fine. So every trick has a pro and a con. Every trick has a good point and a bad point. You make sacrifices when you're creating and performing a trick, and it's down to each individual as to how many sacrifices and what sacrifices they're willing to make. It sounds to me that the best bet for you is as is ACAAN, and if you put the work in and you put the time and the effort in, you'll do it. It's the sort of trick where you can very easily do it badly if you don't put a lot of practice in, though. So if you are going to go down that route, practice, practice, practice. Okay, so the next question is from Made Message again, who says, just one more thought. I recently bought a destination box with its re-release. Right now, I'm just doing this as a finale to an ambitious card routine. Could you give me more ideas, or maybe a hows and whys of the destination box? I've seen your best closers video and with that performance, but I'd love to hear more about your awesome ideas with it. Thanks again. You're actually, yes, I'm not going to say anything now, because in September, when I'm back from the US, I will absolutely 100% be doing a hows and whys of the destination box, because I have probably about 10 or 15 routines with that prop that are just really, really strong and very, very different to what's on the tutorial, and very, very different to what anyone else is doing with it. I've loved the destination box since the first day it came out, and I'm so glad for John that it's now back out again. But yes, in answer to your question, I will definitely, absolutely be doing a hows and whys on the destination box, so look out for it. Okay, so the next question is from Darren Bain, who says, I loved your performance of Jay Sankey's selective memory effect using Out to Lunch. Thank you very much. I also use the red syringe gimmick with this effect. When I tell the spectator I'm tampering with their short-term memory, I use the red syringe, turn it into a small red ball in my hand, i.e. their memory, and then accidentally vanish it. Oops. I then give them some of my powers to do an effect that requires their intuition to match some playing cards. I love Out to Lunch, and it was thanks to the video on Magic TV that I learned about Jay's selective memory version. So thanks Magic TV for that. Dude, that's amazing. That's really good. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. That's some real creative out-the-box thinking. That's taking that syringe gimmick and going in a completely different direction that I never even thought of. Taking the memory out, that's genius, man. That's really good. I mean, with your permission, can I play around with that? Because I love the idea of pulling a memory out of somebody's head, almost like, like Harry Potter, where they've got the pensieve and they take the wand and they touch the wand to the head and the memory comes out. I could see what you're describing here really kind of taken it in a different direction with that kind of having them think of a memory that nobody else knows, having them think of that memory and then taking that memory out, putting it into your hand and kind of like telling them the memory or something. There's a lot you could do with that. That's genius, man. That's really, really good. Okay, so the next question is from the Card Trick Academy. Hi Craig, awesome video as always, thank you. I like to carry around the haunted key when I'm out and about, and I usually do a routine where it turns over. Only issue is that's the only thing you can do with it. Are there any other routines you can do with it so I can put together a multi-phase routine using the haunted key? Thanks. It's a great question, isn't it? I've never thought about doing anything else with the haunted key. Somebody else has said, Roberto Facchini has said, maybe you could introduce a locked something with a prediction in beforehand and have the locked something unlock when the key turns. Something like this lock something can only be opened by a haunted key, which you so happen to have. Maybe build something around that. So a thought of card to impossible location that can only be opened with a special key. Let the freely chosen key from a few, which will obviously end up being the haunted key. Haunted key does its thing, box unlocks to reveal chosen card. Yeah, that's a really great idea. Love that. Really great idea, actually. Really, really great idea. I'm trying to think. Ideas with the haunted key beyond the haunted key. Dear Lord. Okay, so obviously you have it's got a fairly chunky sort of thing at the end, so you could do like linking effects with it very, very easily, where you link like a Garrett Thomas style thing, where you link the key on the ring and then link it off again. That's obviously something that you could do with it. Maybe combining it with Out to Lunch in some way, like it could even be very subtle. So you could have like a file card with a key pointing in that direction, and they sign it, and you say, look, I want you to see the key is pointing in that direction. You could even draw an arrow so they can see, remember the key is pointing in that direction. And then you take this sign thing out and you put it on the table, and you say that drawing is actually a drawing of this key. Now I want to show you something, watch. And then the key turns over in your hand, or their hand, or whatever. And then when the key turns over, they look back at the Out to Lunch, they look back at the file card, and now the key has turned in the other direction, which would be really subtle. It's not like a big change that you normally get with Out to Lunch, but I think that in the context of I'm just trying to think. Yeah, in the context of the routine that I'm describing there, I think that would work really well. Outside of that, I'd need to have a lot more thought on it in order to come up with something. The Out to Lunch thing strikes me as something that would be quite good. I've got a feeling that could be something there with the $100 bill switch as well, but I don't know what. But I think there could be something there with the $100 bill switch, but with a piece of paper where you've got a picture of a key and you fold it up, and when you unfold it, something happens. But I'm trying to think what. I don't know is the problem, but something like the $100 bill switch, where something happens as you do the $100 bill switch, which then impacts the key that they're holding on to. Let me think about it and I'll get back to you. It's a really great question. Okay, so the next question is from Pratek2950, who says, hey Craig, great video as always, thank you very much. I just learnt your monster coin routine and it's brilliant, with each phase getting better, thank you. I don't have a jumbo coin, so I replaced the last phase with Joshua's triad coins, switching in normal coins with a gimmick one. Cool, that's a really great idea. I have a few questions. One, has Louis Lavelle left the 1914 for Mindhouse? Will you review projects from the Mindhouse website? Yes, I believe Louis has left the 1914. I don't know anything about it because I haven't seen anything from the 1914 about Louis Lavelle recently, and Mindhouse is obviously Louis's company, so I believe that's the case. I have been meaning to reach out to Louis for a while now and do an interview with him about Mindhouse, and I'll definitely be reviewing stuff off his website as well. Louis is a really nice guy. That's the first question. And can you please elaborate on the Orphic Peak by Rich Relish you talked about a few weeks back on the Q&A? Well, it's Rich's thing really to share, but the whole idea of it was that it allows you to get the peak, but once you open up the wallet, they can even the business card's there, but they can see that there's nothing with the peak. I don't want to go into any more detail with it because it's not mine, it's Rich's. So what I'll do is I'll get permission from Rich to share that concept, because he shared it with me in private. I'll get permission from Rich to share it, and assuming he's okay with it, I'll share it on a future Q&A. Yeah, it's really good, but let me speak to Rich first, okay? Okay, I have one final question again from Pratek, who says, in your opinion, what are the top video downloads to learn coin magic? Apart from your Coin Magic Academy, as I always have those. So I would say the Netrix is a really good place to start, because there's hundreds of sleights taught on there, and as well as the hundreds of sites, there's tons and tons and tons of coin magic. Outside of that, the Metal series by Eric Jones, an illusionist. As much as I'm not the biggest illusionist fan, they hit it out the park when they did the Metal series. It's exceptional. And then go and check out Justin Miller's stuff. Justin is a god of coin magic. There's nobody out there that's as good as Justin Miller when it comes to coin magic, and he's got a ton of downloads available on his website to do with coin magic and various different changes and concepts and things that he's come up with through the years. So definitely check out Justin Miller. Definitely check out the Metal series by Illusionist. Definitely check out the Netrix. And I believe that the New York Coin Guys project, which was like 16 DVDs, is now available as a download. I'm pretty sure it is. Michael Rubenstein would be the person to contact and check with that, but I'm pretty sure it's available as a download, and that's one of the best. You know, David Roth, Michael Rubenstein, Jeff Latter, Mike Gallo, some incredible names there that are associated with that project. So go check out the New York Coin guys. I believe that it's now available as a download instead of DVDs, but Michael Rubenstein would be the person to check with that. But all of those resources are good resources for Coin Magic. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV for another Q&A. And once again, I'm very sorry I've been coming to you from a hotel room in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you very much for watching. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, you want to get a question answered for next week, please leave it in the comments down below. I'm going to be filming this probably Tuesday next week, maybe Wednesday, probably Tuesday. So get those questions in as soon as possible. If you haven't already done so, please go check out the Netrix. We've just had an amazing Q&A with Ben Harris. We've got more Q&As coming up soon. Chris James is doing an incredible job of the Discord channel with the Q&As and everything that's part of your Netrix membership. But if you want to find out more about the Netrix, go to www.thenetrix.com. And if you are in the Netrix and you're not a person that's in the Discord yet, what are you doing? Go on the Discord. It's brilliant. I'll be back again next week. Thank you once again for joining me. Don't forget, there's a review show special later on today, so go check that out. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.